What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver and on this channel we talk about education and early career development in Finland, and during these live Q&A sessions I answer your most burning questions about living, studying and working in Finland. And if you're new to these live streams, how these live streams actually work is that if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions into the Google form that I have linked in the description box below. The reason why we do it this way is that sometimes the live chat in the live streams gets pretty busy, and it's very difficult for me to follow along with the chat while I'm answering questions from you guys. So this is why I have a Google form, because when you post your questions into the Google form, I will have all the questions here on my computer in front of me, and I will be able to get everyone's questions in the order that they come in. All right, we have a few questions still left from last session, so I will jump to those first. Let me just open up everything, just a second. Just a small moment. Let's see, actually, what's up? Hello, Connell, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Just trying to set up here. I forgot to open up my questions from last time. So just a moment, I will get them out in just a second. Let's see. We have... All right, there we go. We are, everything is working now. Jed Koti, what's up, my man? Welcome back to the channel. Everything is a bit messy here. It's been a while since we have had these live streams. Kirabel, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Guys, I will jump into the questions from the form. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions into the Google form, to which there is a link in the description box below. Jumping right in, some of the first question from the form comes from Isanka Udanjarante, who comes from Sri Lanka, and he is applying to the SEAMK University of Applied Sciences to do his bachelor's in international business. And the question is, hey, what's up? What is it about with... how is SEAMK University of Applied Sciences for Bachelor's in International Business? Number one, is it good? Number two, about jobs for spouses in Seinäjoki area. Number one, yes, it is a good University of Applied Sciences. If you just find a program that SEAMK teaches that you're interested in, I highly recommend that you apply there. However, if you want to do a master's degree as well, I would recommend you to apply to a university instead of a University of Applied Sciences. However, if you just want to do a bachelor's degree, then a University of Applied Sciences is perfectly fine. To the second question, I cannot unfortunately give you an answer because I do not know about jobs in the Seinäjoki area. I've never been to Seinäjoki myself. I have never heard of the job market there, so it's impossible for me to give you any input to that question. Then the next question comes from Daniel from Nigeria, and Daniel is applying to do his master's in Oulu, University of Oulu or Aalto University, is specifically in the field of accounting and business management. And the question is, what is the best time to apply for student apartments? The second that you are allowed to, as soon as you are allowed to, by the as per to the terms of the student apartment providers. So basically every single student apartment provider around Finland do have specific rules about what is the earliest moment that you can apply for their apartments. And for example, HOAS, which is the biggest student apartment provider in the Helsinki region, the capital region, they have a rule that states that you can apply for their apartments at earliest 4 months before you have to move in. And my recommendation is to apply as soon as you are allowed to, as per to the rules, because if you leave the application to a later moment, it is highly likely that you will not get an apartment because there are not enough apartments for everyone. There. Super quickly before we jump into the next question, just saying hey to everyone who just joined. Denzil Tequente, welcome to the stream. What's up? Awesome to have people from Zimbabwe here. That's really cool. Mark Allen Bilar, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. We have Ihabe El Kehal. what's up? I'm doing great. Thank you very much for asking. I was sick last week, but I'm completely fine now. I just had a bit of fever for one day. Muhammad, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Rasul, welcome to the stream as well. Rasul actually saying, hey, just got here in Rauma, Finland, and studying international business. Awesome. Welcome to Finland. Welcome to Rauma. I've actually never been to Rauma myself, but hopefully you have had a great couple of first weeks in Finland. What's up, Jess? Welcome back to the stream. Yesel Kim, welcome to the stream as well. Awesome. Let's move to the next question, which comes from Carl Segebefia, who comes from Ghana. And Carl is applying to do his bachelor's in project management and videography. And the question is, I'm sitting for my Ielts academic exam in 1 week, and I would like to know if that is enough to apply for a bachelor's degree in Finland. No, it's not. You need to also have other documents. For example, you need to have other things done before you apply. Please go and check the university or the University of Applied Sciences websites for more specifics. The exact application requirements for each program in Finland is dependent on that program, as well as on the school that you apply to. So for example, not all schools even want you to take the IELTS tests, or for some schools, IELTS isn't even necessary. However, pretty much for every single school, IELTS in itself is not enough, but rather you also need quite a lot of other stuff. Not necessarily any kind of exams, but there's, you need to have your motivation letter, your CV, you have to have your high school certificates, etc. So please check the application requirements from the specific school and program that you're applying to. Then we have actually Marianne Sarol, welcome to the stream. Awesome to have people from the Philippines here as well. So Young Kim from Korea, by the way, from South Korea, by the way. Welcome, awesome to have you here. And we have Ehsanullah Razaye, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. How to apply for a master's degree in computer sciences in Finland? It depends on the university. Please go and check the university websites for the exact procedures. The application itself is the same for everyone, or the application form itself is the same for everyone, but the application requirements depend on the school as well as on the program. So please go and check the university websites for more information. And also in terms of the process itself, I have multiple videos on my channel. If you go to my channel and check out, and never mind, I'll just show you really quickly. If you go to my channel, if you go to my channel and from here, go to university admission, this playlist right here. Please check out every single video in this playlist. They will tell you exactly how to apply. I talk about all the things that you need to do before you fill the application form. I talk about when and where you apply, and I also go through the master's application form step by step and tell you how to fill it up as well. So please check this playlist, basically all of the videos in the playlist, and you will have all the information that you need in order to apply. All right, then let's jump into the next question from the form, which comes from Aishwarya, who comes from India and who is a regular on the channel, which I do appreciate. And she is about to do her master's degree in industrial engineering and finance at Aalto University. And the question is, so how important are the GREs or GMAT scores for my application, specifically for industrial engineering and finance? Just passing the cutoff would just passing the cutoff suffice, or do you need to be way higher than the cutoff? Asking for finance courses specifically. Also for the industrial course, GRE is optional, so I'm guessing it's not important. Okay, so there's actually a couple of things that I really need to warn you here. First of all, to the second question, if a university says that something is optional, so if they list in their application requirements that it is optional for you to take the GREs, that does not mean that it's not important. If it's not important at all, they will not list it even as optional. So if it's an option, it means that you can then get bonus points basically, compared to those who do not take it. So absolutely, if you have the opportunity to do the GREs, I would recommend that you do them, as long as you can, get good points from them, because that's always a positive for you. If you don't do them, you basically lose that opportunity of getting higher points. And to the first question, if you're applying for a master's program in business in general, not just finance or industrial engineering, GREs and GMATs are basically the primary, grading tool for the university. So they're extremely important. So just passing the cutoff point or just passing the minimum points is absolutely not enough, especially if you apply to Aalto University, because Aalto is the number one business school in Finland. So absolutely just passing the cutoff point, it will not do. You need to get significantly higher points if you even want to get admitted. And then of course, if we're talking about scholarships, you need to get way, way, way higher points, because only the best applicants actually get scholarships. So yeah, not enough. You really need to work hard for your university applications and any of the exams that are involved in the process. Shopam, welcome to the stream. A long time no see indeed. Awesome to have you here. Cool for you to hang out again. So what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have people from Morocco as well. We have also people from Hungary. Otalogon, what's up? Welcome to the stream. We have who else do we have? We have actually Sabine. I didn't say hey to Sabine yet. What's up, Sabine? And we have Jobair as well, Jobail Ahmed. Welcome to the stream as well. I will get to your question in just a moment. But before that, let's jump back into the form. By the way, if any one of you are new to this stream or to the channel, I usually prioritize the questions from the Google form because people go and write down their questions already beforehand. So if you want to make sure that your question is answered live, please make sure to post your question into the form. I will not be able to get into to every single question from the chat during these streams. Anyway, the next question from the form comes from Salome, who comes from Georgia, and she's applying to any of the universities in Helsinki that offer a master's in business, accounting, or finance. And the question is, could you please give me some recommendations for which universities are preferable for students with bachelor's degrees who have done Ielts exams and which do not require the GMAT exams? To be honest, I don't know of a single university in Finland that would have a faculty of business that does not require GMATs or the GREs for the master's degree. So basically, I cannot give you any advice here because every single university that has a business program also requires GMATs or the GREs for their master's degree. So you really need to do your own research on this, and I would recommend start prepping for the GMATs or the GREs because it's highly likely that you have to do them anyways. Then the next question comes from Manthan, who comes from India, and Manthan is applying to the KAMK University of Applied Sciences to do his master's in MBA, or Master's in Business Administration. And the question is, accommodation near the KAMK University, cheap or high price for families? Please Google KAMK University or Jyväskylä. No, sorry, actually, never mind. Let's see, KAMK University of Applied Science. Okay, sorry. Google Kajaani. I can just show you this. So KAMK University of Applied Sciences is in a city called Kajaani. So what you need to do is Kajaani student housing. There you go. And you will then see student accommodation in Kajaani. Open this and you will see all the information that you need about student apartments. This same advice applies to every single one of you who are applying for a student apartment or looking for student apartments. Simply Google the city, name of the city and student housing, and you should have plenty of results explaining how this student housing system works in that city. If you are not able to apply for student housing for some reason, then just simply Google Kajaani rental housing or rental homes. And that should take you to the local, any of the local rental apartment websites, or to any of the national rental apartment websites that have been filtered by the city name. All right. Hopefully that gave you some context. Then the next question comes from Vijay, who comes from India, and Vijay is applying to, starting school this semester at the Yamk University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, how much time will it take to get a student visa after the biometrics and file submissions have been done at the Finnish embassy? No idea. Some people have said that it takes a couple of weeks. Some people have said that it might take up to a couple of months. Depends on the amount of applications that the Finnish Immigration Service is processing at the time. So basically how late you apply for the student visa, as well as if there's any additional information that the Finnish Immigration Service requires from you. For example, if you have not filled the forms correctly, it will take considerably longer, because the Immigration Service has to send you basically an email asking for additional information, and then it's you have to reply to them, and then they have to process everything, so it's going to take some time. Then the next question comes from Malhar, who comes also from India, and Malhar is starting school this semester at Aalto University, doing his bachelor's in economics. Awesome. And the question is, hey Oliver, I will be coming to Finland soon as my residence permit application gets processed. Excellent. I just wanted to know which is the best locality to stay in Espoo or Helsinki, the cities of Espoo and Helsinki, so that I can apply for housing from HOAS or AYY as soon as possible. Please apply for every single student apartment that you have available in the city that you're studying in. If you study in the capital region, so basically around Helsinki, then you don't just apply to Helsinki or Espoo or Vantaa. They're separate cities, but they belong into the same capital region. Apply for every single student apartment that is available. If you start being picky about the exact locations, you will not be offered a student apartment, because you will decrease your chances of getting an offer by so much. Remember that there's a lot of people asking for or applying for student apartments, and if everyone starts getting picky, no one is going to get the apartments that they want, because everyone wants to get the best location. So please just apply for everything that is available, and then HOAS and from both HOAS and AYY. So if you or generally for everyone, apply for student apartments from everyone that you're allowed to, every single organization that you can from, and then apply for every single type of their student apartments in every single location, so that you will be at least offered something. If you get picky about it, you will not most likely be offered apartment at all. Bubbly, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here. Enjoken Studios, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. Yeah, it's been a while. 2 weeks I've had to skip. I've had to skip 2 weeks of live streams. First one, I just had a conflict in my schedules, and last week I was actually sick, so I had to skip, unfortunately. Then the next question comes from Precious, who comes from South Africa, and Precious is still looking for a suitable school, but is interested in a bachelor's in health and beauty. And the question is, hey, again, Oliver, what's up? Do you offer scholarships to people who want to study health and beauty? Okay, let's put it this way. Every single English taught degree that is taught at either bachelor's or master's level will have scholarships opportunities. That doesn't mean that everyone will get a scholarship, but basically every single program that is either a bachelor's or a master's level and it is taught in English will have scholarship options. However, I am not sure if there are that many programs in health and beauty. I remember we checking this out a couple of weeks ago. So you have to be very careful about this, because if you apply to a vocational school, which is not a bachelor's level degree, then they will not have scholarship options available. So yeah, that's about it. All right, then the next question. What's up, Amar Chand? Welcome to the stream. The next question comes from Vivek Kumar Gupta, who comes from India and who is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in computer sciences and robotics at Aalto University. Very nice. The question is, when and how do you apply to Finland, Aalto University? The cost of living and studying, how much time does it take to get a permanent resident in Finland, and when should we apply for university? You apply for bachelor's degrees in Finland starting in January, and the applications end, I think, either mid-February or very early February. So the application period is very, very short for English taught bachelor's degrees in Finland. Again, I have videos about all of this stuff on my channel. Please go and check those out. Again, if I show you guys really quickly the exact playlist that I recommend you to see. If you have any questions basically about admission, basically when do you need to apply, how do you need to apply, what kind of documents you need to in order to apply. This playlist right here has all that information in multiple videos, so please go ahead and check those out. It's a lot of information. I cannot go through the entire process here live. It's just too much information. Please check out those videos. But as a general rule of thumb, you apply to bachelor's degrees that are taught in English in January. If you want to apply for master's programs that are taught in English, those applications start in December and end in January. Then the cost of living, I would recommend you to have at least, 650 to 800 euros per month, all costs taken care of, except tuition fees. So that would mean, rent, utilities, food, travel, etc. So 650 euros to 800 euros per month is going to be just, enough. 650 is not that much if you live in Helsinki, but 800 will, give you a very comfortable life in Helsinki as well. In order to get a permanent residency in Finland, you first need to study a full degree in Finland, and after that you need to work for, I think, 4 years, full-time in Finland, and after that you can apply for residence permit. However, I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 years, because your studies will be counted towards that time, but not in full. Denzel has an interesting question in the chat. I would just want to cover this because we've been talking about the student apartments. Will I get an automatic student housing at the campus after acceptance to the university, or do I have to apply again? That is something for international students. Great question. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because there are no dorm rooms. There is no student housing offered by the universities in Finland. Nada. None. They don't exist. In Finland, universities do not offer their students any housing. All student apartments are rented by third-party organizations. Many of them are non-profits, and many of them are actually owned by students. However, they have nothing to do with the university itself. This also means that you will absolutely not get any kind of automatic student apartments. You have to apply for them, and you have to remember to apply for them through those third-party organizations. And again, you have to apply for them as soon as possible after you have gotten your admission letter, because if you leave that to the last minute or last month even, you will not get a student apartment, at least not at the time or when you move to Finland. So no, absolutely not. You will not get an automatic student apartment. And the second really important thing is that the student apartments are not provided by the schools themselves. There. Whichever subject you're interested in. That's it. That's my answer. Whatever subject you're super interested in, that is the subject that you should study. I will not recommend you any specific subject, because if you take whatever I recommend, you will not like it, and you will not be motivated, and that means that you will not learn anything, and no one wants to hire you. Please study a subject that you're interested or rather passionate about, because then you will become very good at that subject, and then everyone wants to hire you no matter what this topic is. There. Then the next question from the forum comes from Shubham Bisht, who comes from India as well. And Shubham has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in arts at Aalto University. And the question is, how's the digital marketing and ad industry doing in Finland? Are digital companies growing in Finland? Yeah, absolutely. As are in every other country as well. Digital marketing, marketing, itself, social media marketing. Marketing and sales is an ever-growing field. It's never going to die. Yeah, absolutely. There are, a lot of really, really good companies that you can work for if you are interested in digital marketing. Absolutely, yes. Then the next question comes from Zylord. And Zylord is a regular on the channel, which I do appreciate. And he's from Slovakia, and he's applying to Aalto University to do his bachelor's in science. And he doesn't have a what if he doesn't have a question, but actually a very interesting idea for improving the stream in the future. What if you had the names of people you already answered on the screen? People who come late will know if you answered them already, and anyone watching this stream afterward will have easier time finding the answers. That's actually a very good tip. Thanks a lot for the feedback. That's actually something that I've been thinking about. The problem is that since I have all the questions in a third-party app, it's not possible for me to actually pull the names into the screen, or at least not do that easily. Plus, also you have to take into account that, for example, for now, you know, during the all the months that I've been doing these live streams, I've already answered almost 1,700 questions. So how many names would I be displaying on the screen at the same time? So great idea. I will think about this, or another way for me to, you know, think about showing who have I answered already, but it's probably going to take quite a lot of time for me to figure this out. Anyways, the next question comes from Stefan, who is from Indonesia, and by the way, Rahul, thanks so much. That's highly appreciated. Anyway, Stefan is from Indonesia, still in high school, and is interested in doing a bachelor's in economics and business. Awesome. There's a couple of questions here. Number one, I've seen the information for the requirements. For the admission requirements, okay, so there's basically, the first question is a bit confusing, but it's basically a question about the COVID vaccine. I will not answer this question. Simply, I never answer questions about the vaccines or COVID on the channel, simply because the information in regards to this information, it changes every single week. And if you want any information about the COVID vaccines, quarantines, or anything, please go to the website of the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. This is the official government organization taking care of this stuff. And these guys have updates, the most latest updates from the government. Please check this website out before you come to Finland. I will not give you any information on these streams, because anything that I say, even if the information is correct at that time, it is going to be old news next week or even next day, and people come and check these live streams out after the live stream, so I don't want to give them faulty information. Anyway, the second question was, in case I travel in case I travel just to get adapted to the situation and getting some information for my registration for admission. Okay, I have to say I don't understand the question. Something about the admission requirements and traveling and finishing up high school. Unfortunately, I don't understand the question. So Stefan, if you're live right now, please reformulate your question into the chat, for example. Try to be a bit more clear, and I will get to your question if you ping me in the chat. All right, then the next question from the forum comes from Rafiqul Alam, who comes from Bangladesh. And Rafiqul is starting school this semester at Aalto University, doing his master's in zero defect manufacturing for a circular economy. That's interesting. All right, cool. The question is, I got a housing offer, apartment offer from HOAS from the street, or from the address Metsälinnunreitti 2, so that's Metsälinnunreitti number 2. That's an unfurnished apartment. Do they offer heaters in the room, or do I have to buy one? I heard the place is very cold. No, you do not need any heaters in Finland in any apartments. Finnish apartments are extremely well insulated and heated, so you're not going to have any kind of issues in the winter. Please do not buy heaters into your apartment. That there's absolutely no need for that. During the summer, you might want to have some kind of a fan or some kind of a cooler, because actually we do not have ACs in our apartment, because Finland is usually not as warm as we had this summer. However, during the winter, you should absolutely have no issues whatsoever. Please do not buy heaters. They're a waste of money and energy as well. If you're cold, just put on bigger, heavier socks and a jumper. That should be enough. Neo Legionar, welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. Me4Guide, welcome to the stream as well. Awesome to have you in the stream. I will get to your questions in a bit, just a bit later. I will try to first go through a bunch of the questions from the forum, as I have here on the screen there. So if you have any questions, please post your questions into the forum, as which I have the link in the description box below. That way I will have all the questions here on my computer, and I will be able to go through them one by one in the order that they come in. Anyway, the next question comes from Zainal, who comes from Azerbaijan. Zainal, who comes from Azerbaijan, and he's applying to the Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences, very good school, to do his bachelor's in business, very nice. And the question is, hi Oliver, what are your thoughts about Haaga-Helia? Is it a good university? It's not a university, it's a University of Applied Sciences. Remember that there's a difference between these two type of institutions. Universities are academic institutions that do research, and they teach their students based on research and academic, you know, or academic. They have a more research-based approach to their teaching. In addition, universities teach bachelor's, master's, as well as doctoral students. And if you apply and get admitted to a bachelor's degree at a university, you are also automatically at the same time admitted to continue to your master's as soon as you complete your bachelor's. However, universities of applied sciences are more practical. Sometimes they're called polytechnic schools as well. So they usually only teach bachelor's studies. Some schools also have master's studies as well, but that's a bit more rare. Universities of applied sciences do not have any doctoral education because they're not universities. They're not research institutions. And if you apply to a University of Applied Sciences to do a bachelor's, and then you want to do a master's afterwards, you then have to apply and go through the entire application process again to get to another school to study a master's. So if you already now know that you want to do both your bachelor's and master's, please apply to a university, not a University of Applied Sciences. However, having said this, if you just want to do a bachelor's in business, Haaga-Helia is an excellent school. Very, very good school specifically for that. Anyway, then the next question comes from Vikram Kumar, who comes from India. And Vikram is applying to the Savonia University of Applied Sciences to do his master's in energy engineering. Very good. And the question is, I mailed to the university about the program structure, and I found out that they are all online. What does it mean? Will I be able to come to Finland for my program? I have no idea. So if the entire program is done online, meaning the entire program, not just, you know, this year because of COVID, I have no idea how that works. So please, you know, be in touch with the university and ask them whether it's possible for you to come to Finland. Basically, whether you're able to get a student visa to Finland. I have never heard of this program before, so I have no idea how it works. So unfortunately, I will not be able to give you any more advice here. Then the next question comes from Manthan, who comes from India, and is applying to the Kamp University of Applied Sciences to do his master's in MBA, specifically global management. Very good. And the question is about accommodation at the Kamp University or near Kamp University. Again, please Google Kajaani student housing, and you should find the correct website immediately. It's the first link on Google results. I don't know about the student housing there specifically, but please check the one official student housing provider from the Kajaani area. Then we have a question. We have a question from Anonymous, who comes from outer space, dun, 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 and who have not yet decided whether or not they want to study in Finland. But the question is, it's pretty much a statement. Surrender to me, humans. That's cool. All right, that's fun. That's good humor. That's acceptable. Thank you very much. Moving on. The next question comes from Ashok, who comes from Nepal. Ashok is a regular on the channel, which I do appreciate. Once again, cheers. And Ashok is starting school this semester, doing his master's in computer sciences at Aalto University, which is awesome. 2 questions. Number 1, I have heard about the HSL, but can you tell me, the HSL is the Public Transportation Authority in Helsinki, but can you tell me what do the different route systems mean? Is it enough to get the ABE season ticket for traveling to and from Aalto University to my apartment? Great question. So basically, what we are talking about here is the public transit tickets for the Helsinki region. So HSL is the official company, public company that actually takes care of all the public transportation in Helsinki. And you can use all of the public transportation. That means trains, trams, metros, and buses, all with the same ticket. So you only have one physical ticket, or you can also have a mobile ticket, and you can use that ticket to use all the different public transit vehicles in the capital region. And how this actually works is that in Helsinki, we have zones. Helsinki is divided into 4 zones, out of which, if you study at Aalto University campus is right here. So that means that if you live inside the B zone and you need to travel to the Aalto University campus, and you would also want to travel to the city center as well, here's Helsinki, the downtown Helsinki, you would then need to buy a B ticket. However, if you live outside of the B zone, for example in the C zone, you will then need to buy a ABC ticket. You have to always have 2 zones. You cannot just buy tickets to one zone, so just take that into account. And again, as I mentioned, with the same ticket, whether it's an ABZ or ABCD or BCD or whatever, you can use all the different public transportation vehicles in those zones with the same ticket. They're all operated by the same company, HSL, even though the buses might look a bit different. So just take that into account. Great question. Of course, this applies to anyone else who was also coming to the capital region. Hey, Tuomas, what's up? We have Finnish people online. Tuomas Koivumäki saying moi. Moi moi sullekin. What's up? Welcome to the stream. If you have any questions about studying in Finland for some reason, there's a link to the description, link to a Google form in the description box below. Anyway. The second question from Ashok was, if I'm living a bit further from the university and given that classes are going to be online for a while, will I be able to purchase lunch at the student discount price while I'm studying from my apartment? There's some kind of a service that was founded during last year that actually brought student meals in a van to different student apartment complexes. However, I'm not sure if that's available anymore. So if we discard that entirely, and this applies to every single one of you who come to Finland to study, we have very good quality, very cheap student meals. Basically, it's €2.60 per meal, and they're excellent, and you always have a lot of options. And those you can use when you show your student card at the student cafeteria at the campus. And basically, if you want to use the discount, you have to either be at the campus or at another student restaurant, there are some other student restaurants around each big city, in addition to the campus restaurants as well. However, if you're studying from home, no, you cannot use the student discounted meals unless there's a delivery service that actually brings the student meals to you. However, I'm not sure if there's any more this kind of a service anymore. Anyway, the next question comes from Tarag Aziz, who comes from Bangladesh. And no, just I turned my table, I just turned my desk around. So I used to have my back this way, and now I just turned everything the other way around because I can control this back, this things that are happening here a bit better than compared to my older setup. Anyway, the next question was coming from Tarag Aziz, who is a regular on the channel as well, who comes from Bangladesh and is applying to any university that teaches master's level degrees in data sciences or IT. And the question is, if I show my 2 years if I show to the Finnish Immigration Service my savings that are equal to 2 years of living costs in Finland during my visa application, and I get a 2-year visa for my master's, then will I need to show money again in the second year? No. So basically what the question is here, and this is a very good question. Let me show you again. So if we go to the website of the Finnish Immigration Service, which takes care of the student visa applications, and you go to, actually let's go from the front page, maybe it's easier for you guys to follow. Go to migri.fi.en/home and go to permits and citizenship, excuse me, and then go to residence permit from the left, and then from here you need to go to first residence permit. And then from here, studying in Finland, And then you have all the general information about student visas here. But the page that you actually need to go to is here, the means of support right here. Click that. And here, what the Finnish Immigration Service says is that a residence permit for studies can be granted for 2 years if you can prove that you have sufficient financial resources for your entire stay in Finland. For that 2 years. So for example, if you come here for your master's, that's 2 years. And then you need to show that you have the money to pay for your living for 2 years in total on your account before you apply. So you must have at least 560 euros at your disposal for every single month just for your accommodation, food, and other needs. So if you cannot use this money to pay for your tuition fee. So that's very important to know. So if you apply for a 2-year residence permit, you need to have 13,440 euros on your account at the time of application. However, if you only want to apply for a 1-year permit, you can then have only 6,720 euros at the time of application. And then you can reapply for another year so that you can actually finish your studies if they're 2 years. Then one more thing here is that where was it? There we go. When you apply for your first residence permit for studies, you cannot yet secure your income with work. So this means that while you can work part-time during your first year as well, you are not allowed to rely on that money to pay for your living. Rather, you need to still have this money or this money or this money, depending on whether you apply for a 1-year or 2-year permit. Of course, if you apply for a one-year permit, then you need to redo the permit for the next years, every single year. And you always need to have the same amount of money on your account at minimum. Great question. Then the next question comes from, let's see. We have a question from Yuto, who comes from Japan. Yuto comes from Japan. And Yuto has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a bachelor's at Aalto University in the field of design. Very nice. And the question is it quite difficult for Japanese to become regular international students in the design department of Aalto University? What do I need what do I need other than English to pass? Great question. Let's actually check this out. So I will actually show you. So first of all, your nationality doesn't have anything to do whether or not you can actually do well, or even either get admitted or do well in Finland. Especially, the capital region is a very international area in Finland, and you can do extremely well here, no matter your nationality. However, of course, if you think about your language skills, speaking Japanese is extremely valuable because many Finnish companies are actually exporting their products or selling their products to Japan. And having the cultural knowledge and the language skills, and this also applies to other countries as well, in addition to Japan, for example, Korea or any of the Asian countries, China, and so on, that is going to be super valuable. So actually your language skills might be a very big bonus for you when you apply for jobs. Anyways, so if you want to check out the application requirements for any program, you need to do the following. And I'm going to use Aalto University Bachelor's in Design as an example here, but you basically follow the same process. So what we do is Google Aalto University or the university name, and then Bachelor's or Master's, and then the program's name, Design. And then here we have, in Aalto University's example, we have the link that starts with aalto.fi, not the one which starts with into.aalto.fi. This is the wrong link. So click this link to see all the bachelor's programs. To see the bachelor program in design. If you want to see all the different programs, then you can click another link. So when you get to the program page, then just scroll down. First of all, we have a button for how to apply. Let's go there in a second. Before that, you actually have, you should have the program specific application requirements. Never mind, you don't. So how to apply, click here, and then you will be able to see the application schedule. This is for last year, but they're going to apply, update the page in a month or so. And then how to apply, admission process, and the required application documents. So here we have all the different documents and information that you need to provide the university just, you know, at the time of your application. Then they also have language requirements here. Basically, you need to prove your proficiency in English, and there's multiple ways for you to do that. And then specifically in the program of design, so this is very specific for a design program at Aalto University, there's a specific admission process. Basically, they have a bunch of assignments that you need to do. So they're basically practical design tasks that you need to do, and those are not public yet. They will only be, the instructions for those will be only publicized at the beginning of the application process. So you need to keep an eye out on this page for the instructions for these assignments. So in addition to the assignments, you need to have the language proficiency and other documents that you need to provide. But again, you just Google the name of the program, click the link, you know, how to apply, etc. You should find the correct page. And this applies to every single program. Feng Chen actually saying, we got 2 Japanese in my program, and with the very questionable picture. Cool. Then, let's see. Any question? No, not really. All right, let's move on to the next question from the form, which comes from Harshit, again from India. And Harshit is coming to do his master's at Aalto University. And the question is, which country is the best for doing a master's? Finland, Sweden, or Netherlands? I have no idea. I simply have no idea. Depends on what you want to do. Depends on the master's program that you're applying to. Depends on the university that you're applying to. Depends on this language skills that you have. There's absolutely nowhere for me to say this. This is not a black or white question. It's a very complicated question that depends on your personal, you know, situation, the interest that you have, etc., etc. So every single country that you mentioned they're all great countries, but of course I'm here, you know, pushing Finland. So I'm biased, of course. Anyway, the next question comes from Tayyab Pasha. Before actually that, good question from Banu Teha Atuluri, asking, hi, how long can I stay in Finland for job search after graduation? 1 year. 1 year max. And if you get a job during that 1 year period, or if you already have a job before you graduate, then you can stay in Finland to work full time. Alex Ifan asking, bro, can you make videos on studying in Estonia? No, I cannot. I have no idea about the Estonian education system. It's completely different than what we have in Finland, and I focus on Finland. So unfortunately, this is just a simple no. Anyway, back to the questions from the form. The next question comes from Tayyab Pasha, who comes from Pakistan. And Tayyab has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a PhD in commerce or business at the University of Helsinki. Very good. And the question is, hey, sir, first of all, please don't call me sir, just call me Oliver. In Finland, we keep things very informal, and we never call each other sir or ma'am or madam or anything like this. We always call each other by our first names. It doesn't matter who we're talking to. If I was talking to the president, I would, you know, call them, well, I might, you know, call them Mr. President, but anyone else, I will call them by their first name. Anyway, hey Oliver, first of all, I'm a huge fan of yours. Thank you very much. That's really cool of you. You're doing such great work. Thank you. That's much appreciated. My question is, I have done my master's in commerce from a top government university in Pakistan, and I want to apply to any university in Finland for my doctorate studies, and belonging to a hand-to-mouth family, so I cannot afford expensive studies. Currently, I'm working as a medical representative at Pakistani's top pharmaceutical company. I want to study in Finland. That's my dream. And could you please help me about this? And then there's a number. So no, I will not reach out to anyone through WhatsApp or email. If you have any questions that you want to send me via email, you can do that. I have emails in my description boxes of every single of my videos, but please note that it takes me a very long time to reply to anyone via email. Can take from weeks to a couple of months because so many people are trying to reach out to me. So if you want to study in Finland to do a PhD, you're you have good luck, because PhD studies do not cost anything in Finland. They do not have any tuition fees. But still, the thing that you need to know is that even if there's no tuition fees for PhD studies, What you need to do is you need to find funding for that PhD. So there's a lot of third-party organizations, non-profits that actually fund academic research, and you need to apply for funding for your research, but you don't have to pay anything for your PhD studies. Of course, living in Finland will most likely be quite a bit more expensive than in Pakistan. However, you would need to cover your living costs anyway, so that's something you need to take into account. All right. Depends on the person. If you are a woman, of course, you can go very, very expensive, from some tens of euros to a couple of €100, depending on what you want to do. For the guys, it's 20, 30 euros, depending where you go. Can be of course more expensive, but I never spend more than 35 euros on my haircut, and I still cut my hair at a rather decent place that I have used for many years. Then the next question comes from Shohan Muthutar. Okay, Muthutarich. I'm sorry, I totally butchered your name. There's way too many consonants here for me to pronounce it. So Shohan. The question comes from Shohan, who comes from Sri Lanka and who has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in microbiology. Very good. And the question is, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much. Hopefully you're good as well. What universities are good for microbiology? University of Helsinki, the University of Eastern Finland, and I'm sure that there are others as well, but the University of Helsinki is number one by far, and the University of Eastern Finland is also excellent. My brother is actually doing his PhD in biology at the University of Eastern Finland, so that's highly recommended. Anyway, the next question from the forum comes from Ayurisha Dominata, who comes from Indonesia and who is applying to do a PhD in social sciences at the University of Vaasa. That's very, very cool. The question is, international elementary schools for children, affordable accommodation for families at affordable prices, the doctoral course system at Vaasa University, and sample doctoral course assignments. No idea. I'm sorry, I simply have no answer here at all. I have no experience myself in any PhD studies, especially, I've been looking at them at the universities that are in Helsinki. However, I have no idea about the PhD programs in any other cities, and I have no way of knowing what kind of course assignments there are for any PhD, courses. That's something that you need to ask from someone who actually has gone through a PhD program. Then, in terms of the elementary schools for children, or elementary schools in Vaasa area, please Google Vaasa International School. That way you will find the international schools that we have in the Vaasa region. That's the simplest way for doing this. I have no idea. I've never been to Vaasa myself. I've of course never looked for elementary schools in Vaasa. Just use Google. Google is your friend. You're gonna find everything that you need very quickly. Then affordable accommodation for families at affordable prices. Simply again Google, rental apartments Vaasa. Or rent apartment Vaasa, and you should find rental apartment websites that have apartments in the Vaasa region, and then you can make your comparisons there. Again, I've never done this myself for Vaasa. I've been, of course, living in Helsinki almost for the entirety of my life, and you just need to use Google. Even if I were able to help you here, it would take me way too long of a time to actually go through everything live. So unfortunately, I cannot use everyone else's time to check this out because they're very complicated questions. Anna-Lena Hoffman saying, I grew up in Vaasa. Yeah, I've actually heard that Vaasa is a beautiful city. It's a very good student or university city. That's what I've understood. It's a heaven for students because there's so many university students in Vaasa in general. So I actually have a bunch of friends who actually studied in Vaasa, but I've never had the pleasure of going there myself. Anyway, the next question comes from Herve, who comes from France, and Herve is applying to Aalto University to do his bachelor's in economics. And the question is, hey Oliver, what's up? I watched your video about how much time does university take in Finland, and I know that you have also studied at Aalto University. That's correct. From my understanding, the best way to make friends and also network is to join student associations and volunteer there. That is very good, very correct as well. My question, given the university workload, is it realistic to be a part of student associations while also continuing my side hustle as a digital entrepreneur? My side hustle is how I support myself currently, and I also plan to support myself financially the same way in Finland as well. It seems scary that school work alone could take 11 hours a day on weekdays. Then student associations on top of that. I fear I wouldn't have the time and energy to do my job. What's your take on this? How much time do associations and student activities take? Is it feasible to have a job and study full time while doing good at school? Absolutely yes. So you can do as much and as many hours of student activities and student association work as possible as you want. There is no minimum amount of hours that you can take. It depends on what you want to do, who you want to work with, what kind of volunteer jobs you want to do. I've done a gazillion different things in student organizations, volunteering in them all throughout my studies, and it's never been a problem in terms of my studies. Hervé is talking here about the 11 hours per week or per day is basically a general number that many universities use as a guideline in Finland, basically meaning that studying in Finland is a full-time job. You should spend an average 10 hours a day studying, taking care of, that takes into account the exams, studying for exams, your assignments, your actual listening to your lectures, studying for everything, and so on. So it's a full-time job studying in Finland, basically. However, student activities, student associations, volunteering is super important in Finland for Finnish students especially, and it is the best way for you to find Finnish friends in Finland. It's simple as that. If you want to find friends in Finland at university, go and take part in the local student activities. That's given. Or that's as simple as that. And absolutely, you will have time to do that alongside school. But then the question is whether it's possible for you to do your side hustle or your part-time job alongside your school and volunteer work. It is hard sometimes. I actually struggled with this for quite a while, especially because I every time that I do something, I do it full steam. So I spent quite a lot of hours, doing all the things at the same time, and it was hard. So you need to balance it out. What I recommend you to do is to first get to know the studies, how much time they actually take for you, then start looking for student volunteering opportunities, start small, go big later, and then, of course, do your part-time side hustle as well for the money. So yes, absolutely, but you need to test it out first. I would not stress about it. You can spend a couple of hours per week on student volunteering stuff, not more if you don't want to. It's completely fine. You will do great anyways. Anyways, Yvonne asking, hey Oliver, have you ever studied abroad, and would you want to? Basically, yes, I've studied abroad. I was in Germany, in Munich, for half a year. Studying my exchange studies there at the Technical University of Munich. I loved it. Munich is a beautiful city. Germany is a lovely country, and I speak some German. Not anymore that well, unfortunately. I haven't had the opportunity to use it actively. But yeah, I really liked it. It was a really great experience, but I have to say that I love Finland. Everything just works here really, really well. And it's just a relaxing way of living in Finland, because you don't have to worry about healthcare or the massive costs in insurances, or when you want to use public transportation, that you can trust that they work really well. You feel safe in Finland, etc. You can focus on important stuff because you don't have to worry about all of this kind of extra stuff. For example, like safety. So that's really cool. Cool. All right, the next question from the forum, and I will get into the chat in just a moment, so just hold on. The next question from the forum comes from Shrojit, who comes from India, who is also a regular on the channel, which I do appreciate. And Shrojit is applying to a University of Applied Sciences, not sure about the school as of yet, but specifically to do a bachelor's in business. And the question is, hey Oliver, it's been a long time. Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you very much. I'm doing actually pretty great at the moment. I wanted to know how much would a student earn after doing their bachelor's and working for 2 years after a University of Applied Sciences. Impossible for me to say. Depends on the job. Depends on the field. Depends on the job. Depends on your previous experience. Depends on the company that you're working on. Depends on the type of a job that you're doing. Depends on your seniority. just way absolutely impossible to say. One thing that everyone has to understand is that in Finland we do not have minimum wages. Rather, Finland is a heavily unionized country, so we have industry unions, and those unions negotiate minimum salaries for each of the industries. However, those minimum salaries are not, what you would normally be paid. It's just to make sure that no one is paid less than that. However, again, it's impossible for me to say, even give you an estimate of how much you would be able to, earn as a bachelor's in business, even with 2 years of experience. Just completely impossible for me to say. Any numbers that I would give you would be absolutely guesswork, and I don't want to guess, because then you will base your decision on a guess. Akshay, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here again. Anyway, the next question from the forum comes from Gautam, who comes from India and also is a regular on the channel, which I do appreciate. And Gautam is applying to do his master's in automation and electrical engineering at Aalto University. And the question is, hey Oliver, is it possible to do a part-time PhD while working full-time in Finland? Generally speaking, no. So as I mentioned just 10 minutes ago, in Finland, PhD studies are not paid. PhD studies are free, so you don't have any tuition fees, and you need to find funding for them, but you don't have to pay for the PhDs yourself at all. So this means that PhDs are basically classified as jobs in Finland. So many universities actually have a rule that if you want to apply into their PhD program, you're not allowed to do any other job on the side. Simply because the universities want to have PhD students who are very invested in their research and who actually complete the research and do not waste any of the research grants that the universities might be able to get you. So no, as a general rule of thumb, if you do a PhD, you cannot work part-time, or you cannot do a part-time PhD while working full-time in Finland. That's not possible. As a general rule, that's not possible. There might be some exceptions to this rule. However, those exceptions are going to be extremely rare. As an example, for example, you want to do your PhD in Aalto. I have a good friend who wanted to do her PhD in business at Aalto University, but she was told that she cannot apply to the PhD if she's working full time. So that's there. Anyway, the next question comes from Rahul Kumar, who is also a regular on the channel, which I do appreciate. And Rahul is from India, starting school this semester at the Lab University of Applied Sciences. Awesome. Again, as I mentioned before, doing his bachelor's in international business. And the question is, last deadline for the university was 15th of September. So when will universities be conducting interviews? No idea. If the university had an interview for the admission process or the application process, they would have interviewed you. No, okay, never mind. Now I got it. So the application deadline for this specific university was on the 15th of September. This is a special application, basically, where you can apply for certain programs already in September. That's not normal. So the application deadline was on the 15th of September. So the interviews will be conducted within the next couple of months. I have no idea. They should give you either, if they haven't given you a specific schedule, then they will let you know when they have, decided who to interview, because they will not interview everyone. If you don't have a public schedule, then it's impossible for me to say. Anyway, the next question comes from the forum, and after this, I will actually jump into the live chat. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer from the chat, please write a Q in front of your question. So Q and your question, and I will answer this question from the forum while I'm waiting for your questions, and then I will jump into the live chat for a while. I will pick 3, 4, 5 questions from the chat and go through those before jumping back into the forum. Anyways, the next question from the forum, while I'm waiting for the questions, it comes from Israel Saleshi, who comes from Ethiopia, which is awesome. Wow, okay, that's really cool. And Israel is still in high school, but is interested in a bachelor's in computer sciences and information technology at Aalto University. Very good choice. And the question is there any university in Finland that accepts a Duolingo English proficiency test or no English proficiency tests at all? As a general rule of thumb, no Finnish universities do not accept the Duolingo language proficiency test. The only way that you can apply to excuse me, the only way you can apply to study in Finland with the Duolingo English language test is to apply through Edunation. So Edunation is a company, Finnish company, that provides international students with an alternative way of applying to some Finnish universities and universities of applied sciences. So they have partnered up with a number of universities and universities of applied sciences in Finland. You can see the full list here. And you can apply to these schools through Edunation to specific programs that these schools have. And when you apply through Edunation, you can apply using the Duolingo English language proficiency test. However, if you use the normal application method, which has all the universities in Finland, this is not even close to being, this is not even 1/4 of the schools that we have in Finland. If you apply through the normal process, you cannot use the Duolingo test. No schools accept it as a general rule. All right. Next, let's jump into chat for some of the questions. First, we have Harsh Varthan Saini asking, "Hey Oliver, hope you're doing well." I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking. Hopefully, you're doing good as well. My wife is a Finnish citizen, and I am an Indian citizen myself. I know this much that I know that I should not be required to pay a tuition fee. Or the question is basically, I'm sorry, I know this much that I am not required to pay a tuition fee, but what other formalities and benefits do I have to be conscious for? Also, I have completed my master's in cognitive sciences and bachelor's in psychology, and I'm interested in a master's or a PhD in biomechanical engineering and in Aalto itself. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the first question. So Harsh Vardhan, please actually recheck this, because if you actually had asked me this, whether or not you need to pay tuition fee, I would actually have said that you need to pay tuition fees in Finland, because if you're not a Finnish citizen yourself, your spouse's citizenship should not have any impact on your ability to get tuition here. However, what this is actually about is a permanent residency. So if you have a permanent residence permit in Finland, then you will not be required to pay tuition. However, based on your citizenship, you would need to pay tuition. So you need to figure out whether or not you need to pay based on your citizenship. So let me actually show you this really quickly. Whoops, no, not wrong one. Let's see. Sorry, my bad. There we go. Okay, so how you can actually check this is, now I'm completely lost because of the mistake. Yeah, so what I was actually looking for is completely wrong. So Aalto, Masters, apply. So what I would recommend you to check out is from the university websites. Oh, never mind. Jeez. Aalto Masters tuition. This is what I was looking for. Sorry, tuition. Completely messed up everything. Sorry. So go to their website about tuition fees. And the question, do I need to pay tuition fees? So if you are a citizen of a member state of a European Union or European Economic Area or Switzerland, you're not required to pay tuition fees for bachelor's or master's degree studies. However, most non-EU or EEA citizens are required to pay tuition fees. There are no tuition fees for PhD studies, as I mentioned before. So when at the time when you want to do your PhD, you don't have to pay for your PhD, but you also have to do a master's before that. However, then you also, if you have a certain type of residence permit in a EU country or in Finland, you do not have to pay tuition fees here. So do take into account that it's not dependent on your citizenship, it's dependent on your residence permit in Finland. So that's important to understand. All right, hopefully that cleared this up and gave you some context. I'll move on. Oh yeah, by the way, Aalto University is a great school for this topic, so absolutely pursue Aalto University. Anyway, the next question comes from Shakti Panda. What should I pack while I move to Finland? Depending on the season, either warm clothes or summer clothes. During the summertime, it's very warm here in 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. So just normal summer clothes, shorts, t-shirts, shorts, tennis shoes, etc. However, if you move here to Finland in October, for example, or September, you need to pack a bit more warm clothes, because in September and October it can get quite cold, from 10 degrees Celsius all the way to minus maybe 5 degrees Celsius, and then it starts getting colder and colder and colder. So gloves, hat, some kind of a autumn winter jacket, long pants, long shirts, long jumpers, hoodies are just fine. I would recommend you to have some kind of a waterproof or water resistant jacket, because in the fall in Finland we get a lot of rain, and then you can of course buy a proper winter clothing here from Finland, because I think that the quality of clothes here are excellent. Then I would recommend you to pack, of course, all the required documents, like your passports. That's kind of given. However, if you are on any medicine, you need to have your prescriptions with you when you move to Finland. You have to have them in your hand luggage when you come over the border in Finland. You need to have a couple of passport photographs with you. Do have some euros in cash, so exchange some of your cash in the airport in India. I'm sorry, from the airport that you're flying from, into euros before you actually move to Finland. And then I would recommend you to have a laptop from your home country, because if you buy a laptop from Finland, we have this Finnish alphabet on the Finnish we have a Finnish keyboard in the laptops that we buy from Finland, and that is basically useful only if you speak Finnish or Swedish. So please get your laptop from your own country, especially if you have a non-Western keyboard. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I would say that, if you have any candy or anything, any sweets that you really love from your home country, bring some sweets or some dry food with you over the border, because that is an easy way for you to, make yourself comfortable if you're homesick at some point. At least that was a way for me to cope in Germany. I actually brought some chocolate and some candy from Finland because it's awesome. So, there. Great question. Yeah, warm clothing depends on the season. Anyway, the next question comes from Banu Teha Atuluri, who asks, I wanted to pursue a master's in wireless communication engineering at Aalto University. What do you think of the university and the program? If you have any idea, any other suggestions? So Banu, I've actually studied at Aalto University myself, already graduated. Of course, I studied business, not engineering, but Aalto University is the best university by far for engineering students. There's way too many reasons for me to even list here, so absolutely apply for Aalto University. About the program itself, I don't know anything about it, but I know that you should know that Finland is one of the leading countries in wireless communication technologies in the entire world. For example, I'm sure that you have heard of Nokia, the Finnish company that used to make phones, not anymore. They're one of the pioneers in wireless communication, 4G, 5G networks around the globe. So if you're really, really good at wireless communication systems and you have a degree from Finland, I think you will have excellent career opportunities here, even if you don't speak Finnish. What's up, Agiles? Welcome to the stream. I'm actually doing really, really well. I actually got better only after one day, so I think it was some kind of a fluke or stress. So thanks for asking. Then we have a question from Onurkan Yildiz. What's up? Welcome to the stream again. The question is, what's the difference between normal and rolling admission? For context, LUT University asks for SATs on normal, but not in rolling. So basically, rolling admission means that some universities in Finland have a rolling admission where you can actually apply almost throughout the entire year, not usually entire, but the application process, the application form is open for months and months and months at a time, while normally the normal application process for bachelor's degrees happens, English taught bachelor's degrees happens between January and February, and the master's degree applications happen in December and January. So it's very, very short period of time. And these rolling admissions, they just, the application forms are open for a very long time, and the university is going through them all the time and then admitting students as they go. So that's the number one reason difference here. Then the next question comes from Antonio Sanchez. Are part-time PhDs an option in Finland? No. As a general rule of thumb, no, you are not able to do part-time PhDs. Most universities require you to do your PhD full-time, and they actually will not allow you to work another job at the same time. This is because of the funding that they might be giving you. They want to have PhD students who are invested in the PhD programs and do not do anything else full-time on the side. However, there might be some exceptions, but this is usually this is usually the rule. Then one more, and by the way, if you're wondering why I skipped your question, is simply because you didn't write the Q in front of your question as I instructed. This way, I will be able to more easily recognize the questions that are for me from the chat. Gum Aung asking, hey bro, I'm from Myanmar. Can you please tell me about the vocational institutes? Does any of the vocational institutes in Finland offer bachelor's degrees for computer sciences in English? Okay. First of all, let's stop here. There are no vocational institutes in Finland do not offer any bachelor's degrees. What we have is if you go to a vocational school, you basically skip high school entirely. You go to vocational school after middle school, basically. And after and that is not a bachelor's level degree. That's a practical vocational degree, and you can be a carpenter, you can become a chef, you can become a plumber, and this kind of stuff. Then, if you want to do a bachelor's or master's level degree, you need to first go to high school, and after high school, apply either to university or to a University of Applied Sciences. Some people call universities of applied sciences polytechnic universities. They're the closest what we have to colleges or US colleges. The biggest differences between universities and universities of applied sciences are that universities are research institutes, and they teach bachelor's, master's, as well as PhD students, and they base their education on academic research and theoretical models. And while universities of applied sciences are more practically oriented, most of them teach bachelor's degrees, but some of them also teach some master's degrees, but no universities of applied sciences teach PhDs because they are not research institutes. The other really big difference here is that when you apply for a bachelor's degree in a university, if you are admitted to that bachelor's degree, the university is going to be automatically admitting you also into the master's program at the same time. So that means that after you have finished your bachelor's at that university, you can then automatically move to your master's. It's just one form that you fill out, and you then walk into the master's courses. However, if you study a bachelor's at a University of Applied Sciences, and you want to do a master's afterwards, you need to reapply and go through this entire application process that takes from 5 to 7 months if you want to do a master's. So if you already know that you want to do both a bachelor's and a master's, you should go to a university, not a University of Applied Sciences. But yeah, I know that this is confusing. The terminology is a bit different depending on the country, but we do not have vocational institutes teaching bachelor's degrees. We have universities and Universities of Applied Sciences. You're most welcome. Srivatsa, what's up? Welcome, welcome, or I'm going. So, hey and bye-bye, I guess, at the same time. You're most welcome. All right, the next question from the forum. And I will be jumping back into the questions from the chat in just a moment, but let's move into the forum for a while. The next question from the forum comes from Ihabe, who comes from Morocco, and Ihabe is applying to do a master's in environmental engineering or an MBA. And the question is, how do I know my chances of landing a scholarship since my funds are still not enough to cover most of my university tuition fees in Finland? Unfortunately, there's no way for you to know for sure what your chances are to get a scholarship. The reason is that the way that the scholarships are granted is based on a competitive basis, basically meaning that the best applicants for each university are offered scholarships. However, each university has the freedom of defining what the best applicants mean. And this means that if you have like GREs and GMATs or the SATs and some kind of a language test, and then you need to do a motivation letter, and then you have an interview, and you have your previous grades, all of this is taken into account, and then they look all of you as a applicant holistically. They take everything into account, and then they make the decisions based on that. So there's no specific way for you to figure out what your chances are, unfortunately. And I don't have any extra information about this as well, because I've never actually been I've never been processing these scholarship applications. Anyway, the next question comes from Hari. Hari, who comes from India, and Hari has not decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in robotics. Very good. And the question is, are there companies in Finland which work on autonomous vehicles, mobile robotics, etc.? Is there a demand for machine learning and computer vision in robotics in Finland? Absolutely, yes. There is a massive demand for machine learning and computer vision. And for example, my startup, I'm working in a tech startup as one of the founders. We actually are looking for a machine learning expert for our company, and we are also very interested in robotics as well. So for example, Hari, if you come to Finland and you actually get admitted, do contact me, for example, on LinkedIn, because I'm always interested in hearing about people who know machine learning, AI, and robotics. However, that would be relevant only after you come to Finland physically, because we are going to hire someone who is physically here. Plus, we are not hiring yet. We most likely will hire someone next year. But yes, absolutely, there is a huge demand for this kind of stuff. I don't know if there's any autonomous vehicle companies in Finland. Probably yes, but still it doesn't matter, because there's so many other companies that want people who know machine learning, AI, computer vision, and so on. So absolutely yes. And Finland is a great country for that, because the universities are excellent and their job opportunities are insanely good. Then the next question from the forum comes from Rahul Sharma, again from India. And the question is, can I get work in my first month of studies, and what kind of work? No, you cannot. You are not. It's not realistic for you to think that you will get a job within the first month or even months of your studies in Finland. It's absolutely not realistic to think about this. This is, just the actual application process. So if you find a job that you like and you apply for the company, it takes at minimum a month to go through the application process. So even if you found a great job for you and you were a great applicant, it would still take you, at minimum a month to go through the process, and then your job would then, start a bit later, of course. So it absolutely no way for you to get a job, especially during the first month or months. A general rule of thumb is that if you start your job application right away after coming to Finland, it will take you 5 to 6 months to find some kind of a job, unless you take a job, for example, in food delivery, because those are a bit easier to get, or pretty easy to get. However, if you want a job in your field, absolutely no way for you to get a job in the first month or months. It's gonna take time. So absolutely, please do not rely on your finances on that. Then the next question comes actually from Henry from Finland, and the question is, how much can you speak Finnish? No, se varmaan riippuu siitä, että keneltä kysytään, mutta kun mä oon ihan suomalainen syntynyt täällä, niin toki kyllä mä puhun ihan hyvää suomea. There you go. What I'm saying to Henry is depends on, how much do I speak Finnish? Depends on who we are asking. But as a, born Finnish person, who a Finnish citizen, Finnish is my native tongue, so I do speak pretty good Finnish, in my opinion. My girlfriend would disagree, because I don't know the grammar well, and she's always pining about this. She's a grammar Nazi, basically. So there you go. Anyway, the next question comes from Nguyen Pan, who comes from Vietnam, and Nguyen is applying to Aalto University to do his master's in artificial intelligence. Very good. And the question is learning Finnish important for working as a student? No, it's not, especially in your field. The companies in your field will not require you to speak Finnish. However, this depends on the field and the type of jobs that you're applying for. If you want to apply for, basic level service level jobs like, cafeterias, grocery stores, warehousing, etc., then you might need to speak Finnish. However, if you apply for jobs in the field of artificial intelligence, highly unlikely that you would be needing Finnish. Of course, I also don't believe that you will be able to find a job in AI immediately after coming to Finland. It's going to take some time. In addition, especially since you can only work part-time during your studies. So just take that into account. However, in your specific field, no, Finnish is not required. And then is data science and AI good in Finland? Absolutely, yes. There's a massive demand for data scientists and, especially people in AI and computer vision and machine learning. Absolutely, absolutely great. Then, Jason asking an interesting question. Do you know what is the best school for cyber studies in Pasila? I don't think there's any cyber schools in Pasila. Pasila is a neighborhood in Helsinki. I don't think there's any schools in cyber studies in Pasila. It's a neighborhood, not a city. so there's no schools like that. You need to be looking at the best schools for cybersecurity in Helsinki. Helsinki is the city that you were talking about, and then capital region, which is Helsinki plus a couple of cities as well. Which means Aalto University would be the best one for you. Yes, they do. Aalto University has an excellent master's program in fashion design or design in general. They're actually one of the best design universities in the world. Actually, in the world, I think they're like in top 10 best universities in design in the world. They're doing extremely well in rankings, so absolutely yes. Then the next question comes from, again from, okay, never mind. We actually got this question already from the chat. Then the next question comes from Emmanuel Cordoba, who comes again from Colombia. And Emmanuel is applying for a master's in economics, which is awesome. And he's saying, Oliver, thanks for your channel. It's very resourceful. You're most welcome. I'm very happy to hear that it's bringing you some value. My question is, what is the best university in Finland if you're interested in doing research on behavioral economics and finance? So if you want to do, if you want to pursue a career in research, specifically in behavioral economics, I would recommend the University of Helsinki. The University of Helsinki, this is important to understand. The University of Helsinki doesn't have a faculty in business, but rather they do have a master's program in economics, and they have a PhD in economics as well. But those programs are under the faculty of, I think, social sciences. And this means that it's very research oriented. It's very mathematical. And but it's also the best research university in Finland. However, if you do not want to become a researcher and rather you want to study, behavioral economics and finance, and then you want to do a career in this, then in that case, I would recommend Aalto University because it's the #1 university in Finland for business studies. It's also my alma mater, so I went there, graduated as master's there, and I would have not changed it for any price in the world. That's actually a good correction. Aalto University is ranked sixth, not 7th in the world in design. My bad. Good for you, Aalto University. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, so University of Helsinki if you want to become a researcher, and then Aalto University if you don't want to become a researcher, but you're still interested in economics and finance. Then the next question comes from Shyam Ganesh. Shyam is from India, applying, or sorry, not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland. You have been to the streams for such a long time. I'm sure that you should have already decided for Finland, of course. What are we doing here, dude? My job is to make you come to Finland or apply to Finland. There. I don't know what is this? What is this? This. I was trying to give you the finger. You need to come to Finland. That's my job here. Make you decide Finland is the best. Anyway, masters in computer sciences and IT. The question is, hi Oliver, I've been following your channel since your Munich vlogs. That's awesome. That's really cool. That's from 2016, so that's kind of cool. And I'm also the first person who joined your Discord server. This I actually do remember, which is highly appreciated. Shyam, thank you for being here for the entirety of the journey. I'm currently doing my bachelor's in computer sciences in India, and I want to know about job opportunities related to information technology and computer sciences in Finland. Would you advise me on doing a master's before finding a job, or directly apply for a job after I complete my bachelor's? How is the pay and language requirements? So great. If you want to work in Finland, the easiest way for you to get a work permit is to actually study here first. So you would the reason here is that if you come to Finland to work, not for school, you need to apply for a work visa, and they take a long time to be processed, and you need to be very highly educated, and you basically, in order for you to get a residence permit to work or work visa, you basically need to get a job offer already before you come to Finland. So you need to apply for jobs from India to Finnish companies, and if they get a job offer give you a job offer, then you can apply for a work visa, and then it takes like a year at worst for the process. However, if you study in Finland and you graduate, if you study in Finland, you can already start working part-time during your studies. And then if you get a full-time job before your graduation, you can then automatically keep continuing working in Finland. Also, I have to say that if you want to work in the computer sciences field, IT field, you don't necessarily need a master's degree, as a general rule. However, because of this work permit system, it's very difficult for anyone to find a job in Finland from abroad if you only have a bachelor's. Basically, you need to have a master's degree for it to become more easy. So this is why I recommend that you apply for a master's in Finland, do your master's, start working part-time, and then get a full-time job at the end of your studies. That's my recommendation. In terms of the computer sciences field, it's really, really, really good. It's booming like hell in Finland. There's way too many companies looking for good people. So finding a job should not be that difficult if you're really good at what you do. The salaries are very high. I can't give you any numbers here because it depends. However, as a general rule, salaries in the IT and computer sciences field are very high compared to the average salaries in Finland. And language requirements, in general, in the field of IT and computer sciences, you do not need Finnish language skills, because most of the working languages in these companies is English. And since there's such a huge demand and there's not enough people, talented people in this field, companies are pretty flexible about the language requirements anyways. So it's not going to be a problem at all. Awesome. Good. You are coming to Finland. Awesome. That's not awesome. That's okay. I don't know how to be gangsta, so I'll just say you better come here, or else I'm gonna find you. I have a very specific set of skills. I don't, and one of those include finding you, it doesn't, and making you come to Finland to study, it wouldn't. So just take this into account. I'm really tired, really bad dad jokes. I'm sorry. This is not necessary. I'm sorry for bothering you guys, wasting your time here. There's an interesting question from the chat from me for guide. Hello Oliver, namaste from Nepal. Namaste to you as well. This is me, Sunil. I have done my bachelor's in biotechnology and willing to do my master's in wood material sciences in University of Western Finland. How do university scholarships work for new students, and do I have to do the Ielts? What is the probability of getting a job in wood material science field in Finland? me for guide, please contact me on LinkedIn. There's a link to my LinkedIn profile below. I will not answer the questions right here because there's multiple topics that we would need to be discussing. What I will say here is that the wood material science field in Finland is absolutely incredible. It's booming. Finland is the leading country in this research in the entire world, and I highly recommend that you come to Finland if this is the field that you're interested in. So please contact me via LinkedIn. I can actually point you out to a couple of super interesting companies. We can have a quick chat about the scholarships because they're not that complicated, but I just want to point you out to the companies and talk about the job opportunities. So contact me via LinkedIn. There's a link in the description box below. Please, when you send me a contact request, do also include a short note saying just, hey, it's me, Numil, it's me, Sunil from YouTube. Thanks for asking, connecting with me, blah, 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 something like this. And I will accept your contact request and we will have a chat. Then the next question comes from Gum Avk, who comes from Myanmar, and I'm sorry for butchering your name. Actually, we already got that, so never mind. So the next question comes from John from England. Welcome, John, back, I think, to the stream. Awesome to have you here. And John is applying to the Tampere University, doing his master's in sustainable digital life. Very cool. And the question is, if I'm coming from a bachelor's program in a English-speaking country, do I still need to provide IELTS results? Granted that I have already received education in English. Great question, John. As a general rule of thumb, there are many English language countries that still require you to do an English language proficiency test. However, the general rule of thumb is that if you have a formal education from the UK, US, Canada, Australia, the New Zealand, or I think South Africa, you do not have to do any kind of language proficiency tests. So especially in your case, you do not have to do any language tests. However, I wanted to give you a more general, answer here. For example, some people ask me if they need to do the Ielts if they come from Hong Kong, and I think that you still do, even if you have a English language medium education. It's not only about the language medium or the language of studies, but it's also about the country as well. Great question. Then the next question comes from Sunil Tapa Magar again. And actually we just got that, so never mind. The next question from the forum comes from Zoe, who comes from Morocco. And Zoe is applying to do her master's in entrepreneurship, very good, at the University of Jyväskylä. And the question is, I saw that you did entrepreneurship and innovation management. Moment. All right. I saw that Oliver, did the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management Master's Program at Aalto University, but this Master's is not in Aalto's website. Is it still available? No, they actually removed it from the selections, from the listings last year, and they basically took the same courses that they had and they spread them around to other programs. So they don't have the same program available anymore, but most of the same courses are still available through other programs. And is it interdisciplinary? Because I have a doctorate degree in pharmacy, and do they ask GMATs? So if you apply to study a master's in business at Aalto University, yes, you need to do either the GMATs or the GREs. The entrepreneurship and innovation management program in itself was not interdisciplinary, and of course it's not available anymore. However, it did include a lot of courses that were by themselves interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary, however you want to put this. But the program itself was under the Faculty of Business, or the School of Business. So there. Excellent. No. Chatura Panaga asking a very good question. Hi, are we able to cover our master's tuition fees by doing a part-time jobs if I come with my spouse? No, you are not able to do this. Mathematically, it's pretty much impossible. Well, sure, if you pitch in money both from your spouse and from yourself, you might be, but it depends on what kind of a job your spouse is able to do. However, when we take into account that if you come from outside of the European Union, or the European Union, or European Economic Area, as a student, as a non-EU or EEA student, you are not allowed to work more than 25 hours per week on average. Meaning you, not your spouse. She can work, or he can work full time. However, the fact that you can only work for 25 hours a week, and you will most likely not get a full-time salary, whichever the field is that you're studying, and taking into account taxes, it is mathematically not possible for you, at least alone, to cover both your living cost as well as your tuition fee. It might be that it's possible together with your spouse, but it's still going to be very expensive. And one thing that you have to take into account is that you're not allowed to pay the tuition fee, over time. You have to be paid in one go, and you have to pay the tuition fee before every new academic year. So basically, the academic year starts in September. You have to pay the tuition fee before you can register as a student at the university. So usually in August at latest. So, and then basically that means that you have to have the money for your tuition fee for the first year already. That you pay, and then once you start working part-time during your first year, remember that you're not going to be able to find a job within the first 1 to 5 months. So you only have like 5 to 6 months of time to work. Actually, you would have to be able to accumulate enough money for the tuition fee plus your living costs during that 5 to 6 month period. So that you can pay the next year's tuition fee in full next September. So please take this into account. I actually have a video about this where I go through the mathematics, the math, explaining this in detail. Excuse me. Whoops. Let me actually show you this. No, what is happening here? There you go. Okay. So if you actually go to my channel and use this search bar here and search pay, you will find this. You will find a video. Tuition. There. You will actually find this video. This is this is not the correct thumbnail. YouTube is bugging for some reason. But look for this. Can you pay university tuition fees with part-time work in Finland? I actually go through the math in the video in Excel and show you the reasons why it's not possible for you, at least on your own, to pay for your tuition as well as your tuition fee, tuition plus your living costs if you work part-time. My understanding is that no. My understanding is that it's not free, but you would actually need to check from the schools themselves because this is a topic that I haven't looked into that much. But my understanding is that the English taught schools are private, which would mean that they have a tuition fee as well. But please check this from the schools themselves. You can, for example, Google International School Helsinki, and you can contact that school. It's the best international school in Helsinki, well, international school in Helsinki. And you can call them or send them an email and ask about the tuition fees. Excuse me. Then we have Eleg Belei Oluwapais. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna butcher your name once more. Eleg Belei, Eleg Belei, Oluwabamize. I think I got it. Oluwabamize. I think that's pretty close. Welcome to the channel. Awesome to have you here. On the channel, we're talking about education and early career development in Finland. And during these live streams, I answer your most burning questions about studying, living, and working in Finland. And how these live streams work is that sometimes I do answer questions from the chat like this. However, normally I have a link in the description box below to a Google form. And if you want me to answer your question live, please post your question into the Google form, because that way I will have all the questions here on my computer, and I will be able to answer everyone's questions in the order that they come in. But anyway, welcome. Awesome to have you here. Please check out all the different videos that I already have on the channel. There's a bunch of information about studying and living in Finland, as well as working in Finland. And if you're planning on coming to Finland, you will find plenty of valuable information there. Welcome, welcome. Depends on what you're applying for. Not all master's programs require GMATs, some do. You need to check this from the university website, individually from each university's website. The cost of your studies depends on the university as well as the program. They are all different costs, so please first find a suitable program for yourself and then check the individual prices. Anyway, the next question from the form comes from Antonio Sanchez, who comes from Mexico, and Antonio is coming to Finland for work, not for school, specifically in the I see. Okay, for a PhD. So the question is, do you have to pay tuition fees when studying a part-time PhD? Are there any part-time PhD programs at all in Finland? I've actually answered this a couple of times. As a general rule of thumb, no, there are no part-time PhDs. All of them are full-time, and many of the universities actually do not allow you to work at another job while you're doing your PhD. There are some exceptions to this, but this is the general rule of thumb. The reason for this is that the universities have only limited amount of PhD positions, and they want to choose people who are committed to the PhD and actually complete it on time and focus on their research, because they don't want to waste valuable PhD positions and grant money to people who take years and years and years and years on completing their research. Then the next question comes from Ani Hoffman, who comes from the United States. Welcome, Ani. Awesome to have you here again. And Ani is still in high school and interested in doing a bachelor's in I don't know yet. Awesome. And the question is, with a SAT score of 1,600, which schools would I qualify for? Looking for an English program in English program in a University of Applied Sciences. Would Tampere or Vaasa be okay? Somewhere else? Dual citizen, US and Finland. Great question. So first of all, if you have Finnish citizenship, my understanding is that you don't need to pay any tuition fees because of your dual citizenship. So that's great news already. Then in terms of the SAT score, unfortunately, Ani, I'm not able to give you any answer here because the minimum requirements for the for different universities in terms of their SATs that's usually not public information. Some universities do publish them at absolute minimum levels that you need to be at. However, many don't. And also, you have to take into account that there's, I think, 23 or 24 universities of applied sciences, and I would need to go through all of the information individually from each school, so I cannot do it right now here live. So what I would recommend you to do is to simply apply for the schools that you're interested in. When you apply for a bachelor's, you can apply, I think, to up to, is it 6 schools at the same time? So you should be able to, have at least one of those schools that you should be qualified for. And then it's a question of competition and whether or not there are better applicants than you, even if you qualify in terms of your SATs. Hopefully this gave you some context at least around the topic. I'm sorry, unfortunately I cannot give you any more specifics on the topic simply because there's no information about this. Onurkan Yield is actually saying 1,600, that's a max score that'll get you into any university. Of course, again, they got the maximum possible score they can get into anything. Yeah, sure, this is of course true as well. However, you have to take into account that the SATs are also not the only thing that count. Absolutely, really good SAT scores are going to help, and if you get if you get full scores from the SAT, you're probably going to get into any school that you want. However, you have to take into account that, for example, to the Aalto University, which is the best university in the fields of business, technology, and design, there's probably a bunch of people who have full scores from the SATs, so you still have to compete against them with other things as well. So great point, but you still might need something else as well. Then the next question comes from Jasmine from Turkey, and Yasmin is applying to Aalto University to do her bachelor's in business. And the question is, why Aalto is not updating its admission for 2022-23 on their website? None of the universities in Finland have done that yet. Simply because the information is not yet public. All of them basically update their websites about the 2022 application at the same time, and it usually happens around September, October, or in between September, October. So I would be waiting for the websites to be updated within the next few weeks. So please keep an eye out on the websites within the next, at least few weeks. Then the next question from Yasmin is, do you have any university suggestions for bachelor's degrees in business in Finland? Aalto University absolutely is the #1 university for business. Of course, if you don't want to do a master's, then I recommend that you apply for a University of Applied Sciences. In that case, I would recommend either Haaga-Helia or Metropolia Universities of Applied Sciences. The cool thing about Metropolia University of Applied Sciences is that they actually have a brand new campus, which was finished just 2 years ago, just before COVID hit, and it's pretty awesome. I actually just dropped my girlfriend there at the campus this morning, and I was there first time, and I was looking like, whoa, that's actually cool. I wouldn't mind going there. So Metropolia or Haaga-Helia are great universities of applied sciences if you only want to do a bachelor's, but if you also want to do a master's later, then either Aalto University or, for example, Vaasa University. Those are great options. Great question. Thank you. Then the next question. There's a funny comment here. So this is in Finnish, so let's translate. Milloin minun pitäisi muuttaa talosta ja minne? Olen 17 vuotta vanha. PS painike Aalto-yliopistossa ei toimi, koska rakennustyö. Okay, so I know what we're talking about here. So basically, when do I need to move out or when do I need to move out from my parents and when? I'm 17 years currently. PS, the button that I talked about in my previous video at Aalto University campus doesn't work because there's some kind of construction work around it, which is a big shame because I teased. There's a really funny button in front of one of the buildings at Aalto University campus, and there was actually a couple of people who went there to test it out, but they couldn't. So basically, if you want to move out on your own from your parents' place, if you're in Finland, basically I would maybe wait for you to get a study place at a university, because then you can apply for student apartments. That's my personal recommendation. And of course, student apartments, they're everywhere, and you can apply to multiple places, depending on where you study. Then the next question comes from Omar Daoud from the forum, and Omar is from Jordan, and applying for a master's in engineering, specifically in renewable energy, which is awesome. And the question is Finland advanced when it comes to renewable energy? Absolutely yes. We are actually one of the top countries in the world developing different green energy solutions, not only battery solutions, but also biofuels, solar energy, hydro energy, etc. So absolutely yes, Finland is a great country if you want to study renewable energy in terms of engineering. So yes, absolutely yes. Then the next question from the forum comes from Bagus, who comes from Indonesia, and Bagus is coming to Finland for work, not for school. Very good. And the question is, hey Oliver, I'm currently applying for a job in Finland. If we say that I got a job and I move there, do you have any information, or will I? Do you have any info of will or will not my dependent, my spouse, be eligible to study? Oh, okay. So do you have any information about whether or not my spouse will be eligible to study in Finland for free, as she's pursuing her master's degree at Aalto University in the program of Arts and Design. If she's not a citizen of Finland or a citizen of a European Union country, no, she cannot study in Finland for free, even if you get a work visa into Finland. Unfortunately, no, it's based on citizenship, or basically being able to study without tuition fees is based on your citizenship. And if you come from Indonesia, even if she moves here with a visa based on your study visa, she's not able to study here for free. She will have to apply to the programs through the normal means and then pay tuition as well. This is at least my understanding. Anyway, the next question comes from Tara Ghaziz, again from Bangladesh, and the question is, hey Oliver, I'm pleased to see you. Awesome to have you here as well. Are there any university deadlines open now for masters in? Are there still any university applications open for master's degrees for the January-February intake? My understanding is that no, they have all gone. The next master's program applications start in December, and the studies start in September next year, so 1 year from now. Almost exactly 1 year from now. However, the application forms open in December. Then, oh, by the way, guys, if you're getting some value out of the stream, I actually haven't asked anyone even once or through the stream. If you're getting some value out of the stream, I would really appreciate if you could hit the like button. If we could get, for example, to 40 likes before the end of the stream, that would be awesome. Appreciated. The next question comes from Pedro Silva, who comes from Portugal. And Pedro has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, and he's also not sure what field he would study. But he's interested in computer sciences, web design, photography, languages, etc. And the question is, hey Oliver, I'm thinking about moving to Finland. What are my chances of finding a job for someone who comes from Portugal and never attended university? Not good, to be honest. Not really good. Of course, you can find very basic service level jobs. However, if you don't have a bachelor's degree even, and you only have a high school degree, finding a job in Finland is going to be very difficult for you, indeed. You will basically be able to do, maybe work, as a cleaner in warehouses, not necessarily even in restaurants, because there are a lot of students, university students, who apply for jobs in restaurants and cafeterias. And if you don't have any other degree than high school, then those people will go in front of you in the applications basically always. So it's going to be very, very difficult. So I recommend that you come to Finland to study, because that's an easier way for you to find a job here. Then the next question comes from Prince, who is from India, is applying for, who has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in the University of Eastern Finland, specifically their PhD in social work. Very good. And the question is it difficult to arrange a supervisor for PhD program in Finland? If I can arrange, do I need to take any payments? And as I'm aware, university is not mentioned anything. So there are no tuition fees for PhD studies in Finland. They are basically, it's basically a job, and you will be funded, or you need to find funding for your PhD, and that is basically considered as your salary. So that funding will cover your living costs. And then I'm not sure what you mean about supervisory or supervisors for PhDs. Basically, if you are admitted to study a PhD or your PhD in Finland, you will have a supervisor and you will have a PhD instructor assigned to you from the university, if that's what you mean. But yeah, there's no tuition fees for PhDs. Then the next question comes from Edwards, who comes from Latvia. And Edwards has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland. Why? Everyone come to Finland. It's awesome. Anyway, but he's interested in Aalto University, specifically in their bachelor's in design. Very good. And the question is, hey, I'm interested in studying at Aalto University to do a bachelor's in design through the Erasmus exchange program for the spring semester. Okay, that's very good. Will there be any problems with covering the cost of living since I won't have the full amount of money at the start to cover my living cost? I will receive a set amount of money to cover my living cost from the exchange program every month. No, okay, so that's a very good question. So the financial requirements to come to study in Finland, the 550 euros per month that you need to have in accordance to the rules set by the Finnish Immigration Service. Those do not apply for exchange students. That's completely different for you guys because you only come here for one semester. You still have to be able to cover, your living costs. That means that you cannot rely on the social network that we have in Finland or social security network. But Edwards, that doesn't apply to you as an exchange student, so don't worry about it. I'm sorry I miscommunicated this a bit, or I should maybe mention separately that you don't need to fulfill this requirement if you come here as an exchange student. That's completely different system for you guys. You don't even the entire permit process is completely different for you, so don't worry about it. You will be able to cover your living cost if you get a set sum from your school or from the exchange Erasmus program. Great question. The next question also comes from Prince, and the question is: Are international students entitled to get any bank loans or any kind of credit facilities from the government or banks? From the government, no, you are not able to get any funding from the Finnish government as an international student. You can always apply for some kind of a loan. You will not be able to get a student loan from Finland as a international student either. We do have a student loan system in Finland, but that's only for Finnish national and people who have permanent residency here. That's because it's a special type of a loan. However, you can always apply, for credit or loan from the banks. However, as an international student, please just note that it's going to be pretty difficult for you to get loans. Because you have no banking history in Finland yet. So the banks in Finland and in Europe have pretty strict regulations on who they give loans to. These regulations were set in place after the last financial crisis. So if you want to take a bank loan or a student loan for your studies, I would recommend that you do it in your home country because that's going to be much easier. You're most welcome. Hopefully this cleared things up, and please actually for in terms of the Erasmus program, please also contact the Erasmus organizer, or basically your home school as well, and go through all the official steps with them as well, because they will be able to give you much more information than I can, because Erasmus programs are something that I haven't updated my information on in quite a while. So I might not be 100% correct every single time. I think I'm like 95% correct, but just in case so that you don't make any silly mistakes because of my incompetency. But with this question, I think I'm pretty much, correct. Then the next question from the form comes from Stefan from Indonesia. Stefan is still in high school, is applying for a bachelor's in business management or marketing at Aalto University or University of Jyväskylä. Very good. 2 questions. Hope you're doing well, Oliver. Yes, I'm indeed doing pretty well. Thank you very much for asking. Hopefully you're doing great as well. Can I ask about the admissions role? When we already take the Ielts test 1 year before the applications, do I basically prepare the SATs? Because, okay, let's read the entire question. Whether I don't know test takes online or should I move to Finland and take the online test? Okay, so basically, if I have already taken the IELTS, I would next need to do the SATs. So should I take the test online or come to Finland and take the test here? Please take the SATs online. It's basically impossible for you to come to Finland first and then take the SATs here. Please do them online in preparation for your application. Easiest way to do it that way. Then second, could I ask you about the scholarships? I am still a bit confused because of the submission, because my score report basically is not completed, because the admission for university is earlier than my program ends, because my 12th grade takes, my 12th grade final grades are given in June. So you can apply to universities in Finland without having a fully finished high school degree. So basically, you can fill out the application form and send it incomplete, and then you can send your high school grades and the high school certificate to the university a bit later. However, you have to take into account that there's a very, very strict deadline in terms of when does your high school certificate have to be at the university physically, and if you miss that deadline, they will cancel your application entirely. So please check out the very specific deadlines and schedules from the university websites individually, because the deadlines depend on the university. Once the universities have updated their websites for the next year's application, and again, that will most likely happen within the next few weeks, usually at latest, somewhere in mid-October. Awesome. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out for almost 2 hours now. Again, if you got some value out of the stream, I would really appreciate if you could please hit the like button for the algorithm gods on YouTube. That tells YouTube that you're actually getting some value out of the stream, and they will push the stream for more people. There are still some questions in the forum that I did not have the time to answer. I do apologize. There were a lot of questions this week. And don't worry about it. If I didn't get to your question this week, don't worry about it. I will get to your question next week. I will start the next week's stream with your questions that were left from this week. So again, don't worry about it. Actually, Trop CM 4.6. Oliver still in live, covering previous week's questions, I guess. Not anymore. Actually, we already got all of the questions from the previous weeks, and I am actually just about to end the stream. So I'm sorry you just came in late, but do check out the stream as a replay once it gets processed by YouTube. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. I will have new videos coming out next week, and then, of course, I will see you live next week again. All right, thanks so much for hanging out. Bye.